Stained glass patchwork also includes Celtic work, which is a piece that I've got in front of me. It's made with 1/4-inch bias. I've had this a while, so this I did by hand. But I think I could have do it now on the sewing machine.
You certainly could. This machine comes with a twin needle facility, and in the spare pack of needles that we get with the machine, there is a twin needle in here. Let me just pop it out. They come in varying widths. This is a 2mm twin needle. And it's what the machine is designed to work with.
Same D fitting up at the top here?
Exactly the same fitting. I've got a 5mm one here, and if you can see, oh, they're slippery little ones, there we go. It's exactly the same fitting on the top, it's just the width between the two needles is different.
So go in the machine just like
this will show you how, because it threads up slightly differently as well, so I'll show you in a minute how to thread it. The point to remember with this is the defaults on the machine are for the 2mm twin needle, so we can look at all the different stitches. We're on utility now. This is a twin needle here, so if I just touch that, it brings it into play.
So those are all the stitches it's happy for me to
use with the twin needle. You can see some are greyed out. So we've got zigzag. Yeah, it won't let you. If I go to that, it's just nothing will happen. The machine knows, it's very clever, and it knows what it doesn't want you to do.
Yes.
And again, if we look, it will quite often alter the width as well, so that it works with the twin needle. So the swing, it's not going to hit the side of the foot and break.
Do we have to pay attention to the foot that's on there
The foot
too?
I would always use the presser foot specified anyway. It gives you the best result. But there's lots of different stitches that we can use, and you can get some, I've popped some on here, you can get some really good effects with them. That's just got a variegated thread. And
lovely.
Most of these are utility stitches.
My goodness.
I think we don't use them as much as we could on the machines. There's some very nice utility stitches on there.
But the twin needle is very clear to see your parallel stitching, isn't it?
Serpentine stitches on there, little blind hem stitch, which gives you a really good effect. So there's just so many different things you can do with it, but it's being mindful that it is 2 needles, it's not one, so the swing is very different. And it also threads slightly differently on the machine. So I think we need to look and see how we thread the machine.
That would be good to know, yes.
We'll pop those there. So threading the machine, we do have, with the machine, we always get a spare spool pin. And that pops in the top of the machine. If you're not sure, look in the manual, it will always tell you. So again, I'm going to lock the machine out first, so I'm not going to accidentally sew my fingers together. Right, so I'm just going to change the needle now, so I need to use a screwdriver, which I can't find at the moment.
Oh, I think I've hidden it under here.
We go.
Sorry. There you go.
Thank you. So we're just going to take the needle out as we normally would. So it's just a little turn. Don't undo the screw too much, because if you drop the screw, it's terrible to get back in again. And I tend to just pop that into something that I've got around. So again, the twin needle, as you can see, it's only got one shank, so we will pop this in exactly the same way that we would put a normal needle in.
So that's the flat D to the back, isn't it?
I can't get in there. Oh, there we go, it's done. And again, as always, when you pop your needle in, make sure you just give it that tiny little quarter turn.
Yeah, with the
screwdriver,
make sure it's important,
secure.
isn't
it really is important.
Yeah.
So the top thread, we've left threaded exactly as it was.
Right.
Thing to remember with this is we can't use the needle threader, it won't work. So I'm just going to take the thread, snip the end off, and just thread manually with these. The needle thread, for obvious reasons, won't work, so we'll pop that through. We could be here for some time. Should have brought my tweezers. There we go, that's through. That's that one. There we go. So that's threaded in the left needle as we normally would. The one that's slightly different now is we've got the spare spool stand on the top. We'll pop this one on.
Does it matter which way the thread spins
I always
off?
run off the bottom. There's the odd occasion where you can't. I just always have done. Right. And again, make sure that when you match the spool cap to the size of the spool.
Yes.
You know, if you're using the large ones, put the larger spool caps on. And pointy bits out as well. I've seen so many people who've stuck them on the other way.
That's because some of them come with holes in the top of the thread, don't they? So people think that
if you've got the longer comb, there is another spool, little tiny grey spool cap in there that works for that. This one now we thread exactly the same as we would if we were threading the machine normally. It's around exactly the same thread path. The big difference here is if I pop the front open, I don't know if you can see, there's a little metal piece with a slot in here.
Yes.
And that's where this thread's going to go through. That's the difference. Say thread the top exactly the same. That comes into there. It'll go straight through. There we go. Take it through. And we don't need to pop it through the thread guide on the bottom either. It literally now will go straight through the needle.
So threading is quite important.
It's very important. It does explain it step by step in the manual.
Your manuals are so good.
So they're fabulous. And then line drawings, which I find so much better. And that's it. We're good to go then. And again, as long as we've got the twin needle safety feature on the machine working, we're fine. And we're using the 2mm twin needle.
We'll be good to go.
So now we can unlock the machine.
Okay.
And we're ready to stitch.
And do some stitching.
Yeah, let me just...
So we've got 2 threads on the top and we've got 1 bobbin thread.
Yes.
So what does it look like on the back?
There we go. Pop them over. Yep, it will look like that because the one, but if you'd have tightened the tension up on there, it would have pulled the threads together and given a little bit of a raised effect. If you look on the jacket here, you can see you've got a slightly raised effect on it. Just tighten the tension.
Yes, normally we would think that the tension was wrong, but for this sort of stitch, that you're getting a Trapunto look,
yes, you are, because you've got the 2 on the top and just the 1 on the bottom.
The one on the bottom, so yes.
It's my usual, just right on everything.
No, I think that's absolutely perfect.
But again, you know, you can get some really good features with quite a basic stitch as well. I absolutely love this one.
That's the triple stitch.
So utility stitches, a lot of us think they're just for real basic use, but they can be very versatile.
You told me that was for elastic. I don't sew
It is for elastic. I don't sew elastic on. But equally, you can see it's a beautiful stitch. And again, we can just lock it off and it'll cut as well.
So the locking off stitch is the end of a pattern?
It's always the end of a pattern. It does little stitches on the spot and it locks it and ties it off.
And ties it off, I know.
So we've got a really good secure finish.
Yes.
But equally, we can go through into different categories. Let's have a look. We'll have a look at quilt stitches again. Why not? And you can see how many of these are greyed out.
Oh.
That's because they're not going to work with this function. So it's a really good safety feature on it. And again, should we have a go with the serpentine? We
Absolutely,
know we love the serpentine
yeah,
stitch.
we do.
And if you look, it's altered the width of the stitch to 3mm. So that it will actually work with these needles. That's why it's very important. If you're going to use a different width, you need to test it before.
And has it changed the foot? I wasn't paying attention.
Sorry, so the F foot. I'm being naughty. I've left the A foot on for this.
Okay.
But yeah, we're only on a single layer. So again, lock stitch. And you can see that's going to stop.
Lovely.
And cut. I quite often use a twin needle for finishing quilt seams, and it just gives you a really nice different effect. So you could use some variegated threads. And again, you know, just use the centre of the foot as your seam guide, so you've got even on either side.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And for our stained glass, there's a couple of bits. This is just really easily cut. And again, I've used the 5mm twin needle for this. And now with that, you will see it's a lot wider, the gap. Only ever use this on a straight stitch, and I would never go any wider than a 5mm. And again, keep the speed down a little bit, and it just makes it so quick and easy to stitch.
It is parallel line stitching, isn't it?
And it just makes it easy. So you've got the lovely rainbow one there with some variegated, or just a plain black for your stained glass.
Super, yeah, of course, yes. Yeah. Absolutely lovely. Well, I'm certainly going to give that a go.